Let's talk about how to pass your first round interview for Deutsche Bank. What's up guys, it's Mike from Job with English here with another video to help you get hired. Today we're going to be talking about the German banking giant Deutsche Bank and how you can pass their first round video interview. If you like this video, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit like down below and drop me a comment what videos you'd like me to do next. We release 2 new videos every week, most weeks, when I don't have a cold. Today we're going to be talking about Deutsche Bank. If you've never watched one of our past interview videos, they're pretty simple. Watch the whole video to help you get hired. If you want more help, check out the courses down in the link in the description below. We're going to talk about some facts about Deutsche Bank you can use in your answers to why you want to work for Deutsche Bank, what you can expect in the interview format, common questions that we came across, special cases that we might have identified, and what you can do next. So let's get started with 5 fast facts about Deutsche Bank, which we got from their 2024 annual report. For the first time ever, DWS or Deutsche Bank Asset Management passed €1 trillion assets under management. In 2024, Deutsche Bank generated just over €30 billion in revenue, which is a 4% increase from the previous year. Deutsche Bank has had its fair share of troubles over the years, but since Christian Sewing took over as CEO, it has seen their share price quadruple since 2020. At the end of 2024, Deutsche Bank employed just over 95,000 people across the globe. Deutsche Bank is commonly accepted as Germany's largest bank, and to give you an idea of that in terms of headcount, 24.5% of Deutsche Bank staff are employed in Germany, while just 0.4% are employed in America. So what can you expect in your Deutsche Bank video interview? Well, it's a pretty standard Hirevue interview process. You can expect 5 to 7 questions, 2 minutes to answer, 2 minutes to respond, and it did vary between candidates, but it was pretty much a mixture of motivational questions, competency questions, and some very light technical or commercial awareness questions, depending upon the role. So let's go through the most common questions that we came across for Deutsche Bank and how you can think about answering them. Question number 1, why Deutsche Bank? So at the start of the video, I went through 5 fast facts about Deutsche Bank. And it's never been easier for you to find particular specific facts about the company that you want to work for. All you need to do is, particularly if they're a publicly traded company, download their annual report, plug it into an AI-powered chatbot, and ask for 100, 150, 200 facts. This allows you to get everything that you need and then choose the 5 or 6 facts which resonate the most with you. And it's really important that you run through your script and say it in the way and the speed that you would say it. There is something to be said for how helpful AI is for helping you to prepare for your interview. Personally, I don't think it's that helpful to do interview scripts. The reason being is when you don't sound like yourself, you come across as awkward and weird. Now, it could be 5 facts, it could be 6 facts, whatever fits within about 90 seconds. The reason being is I tend to train people to go under time, because in the real thing, you'll go overtime. Most people, when they're anxious or stressed, tend to run long. They tend to talk for longer than they had intended, rather than running short, which is kind of, going under the time that you intended, or your mind goes blank. For you to kind of level up this answer a little bit, or if you're really intent about talking about yourself, then find one of the facts that resonates with you and then bring a bit of your own personal experience about it. Like, it really means so much to me that Deutsche Bank's directors, there are 28% of them that are women as a young female coming into the banking industry. I think this is something that I aspire to, and looking at their program where they're looking to increase the number of women who are directors and so on and so forth. Question number 2, walk me through your resume, walk me through your CV, or tell me about yourself. I tend to see this question as all of the 3 as being the same. Walk me through your resume is pretty common for professionals, and tell me about yourself is more common for graduates, but it's pretty much the same thing, i.e., give me your elevator pitch. What is it about you that is particularly interesting to me or to our company? Pretty quick way to stack this. What are you doing now? What have you done in the past? Work experience, extracurricular skills and interests, and ending with a bang, your hobbies, just something that will intrigue that person. The intrigue tends to work a little bit better when you're actually speaking to somebody. What you're really looking for is trying to include the important elements of your experience as they relate to the job description. Something to really think about at a fundamental point of view is that your Hirevue interview is going to be based and graded in terms of the selection criteria, in terms of what the job description is looking for. So I'm not going to deviate too much further than that. Like, based upon geography or probably not even where you've been to university. So as much as possible, you want to understand the job description and be mentioning those skills. They be hard or soft skills over and over again, whether that be in your work experience, whether that be in the degree that you're just about to finish. Mentioning those things that are relevant to the job description in order for your personal introduction, you'll tell me about yourself, you'll walk me through your resume to really resonate, to click with the audience as they're receiving it. Rather than just thinking, well, here's why I'm amazing, which is how most people approach the problem, which is why they get it wrong. Question 3, describe a time when you worked as part of a team and you faced a challenge. These are competency behavioral questions. They should be answered using the STAR format: situation, task, action, result. Where were you? What were you doing? What did you do? Why was it good? Situation, task, action, result. Now, a couple of things. First of all, the majority of your answers should be based around the action. I say 70%. This is where you're talking about how you're a good team member, how you're good at facing a challenge. What does it mean to be good at facing a challenge? Well, number one, you understand the challenge. You ask clarifying questions. You figure out what you know and what you don't know. You ask for help, so you try and allocate your resources successfully, and then you go out and you fix the challenge. You understand what you need to do, and then you break down those steps and you go through those steps to get the result. The other thing that I'd say to you is try to be as specific as possible, like you're telling an actual story. The reason being is it's going to be easier for you to talk about and easier for you to remember if you're being specific. For example, at the weekend, I saw my friend Dan twice. I wouldn't turn around and say, well, at a period of time, I saw one of my friends on 2 occasions. It's wooden, it's unspecific, and it's not actually easy for you to remember. If I just said, last weekend I saw Dan twice, that's really easy to talk about. And now, I'm not saying that you should be so casual that you're swearing or using slang, but you can be reasonably informal. Just imagine that you're telling a story to somebody who you couldn't be too casual with, probably your mum and dad, or maybe a teacher or somebody who you didn't know that well or who you're getting to know. There's a really good way of looking at it. The second thing to think about with this that I've spoken about quite a lot this year is don't think about telling, think about teaching. Often when people think about telling a story, they leave out lots of the details. Details kind of make the story. Those funny little things that somebody did, the context that it was in. So for example, I had a church lunch and my friend Dan and Max, they found my phone. So I was doing the washing up, unbeknownst to me. So I've gone to leave because I am well known for forgetting stuff. And my friend Dan says, well, you're not going anywhere because you haven't got your phone and your car keys. Gives me my phone and my car keys. I say goodbye, go off, do whatever I'm doing. Now, Monday morning, I wake up to go to the wholesaler because I'm shopping for our food business. I open my phone and there is just a whole screen full of stupid photos of my friends who have taken great joy in filling my phone with stupid photos of themselves. Now, I absolutely love that, and I'm going to text them later and just say how it really brought me a lot of joy. The details make the story. If I just said I lost my phone, someone found my phone, and then when I looked at my phone there were photos of that person, it's just so bland, so dry. And telling good stories is also a good way to teach somebody. Next time when your friend loses your phone, maybe instead of just giving it back to them, why don't you do something that the next time that they look at their camera roll, it's going to make them smile because they're going to see your goofy face. Question number 4, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? Now, this is actually a pretty tough question if you get it, because it's an all-in-one. So if you have 2 minutes to say what are your strengths and weaknesses, first of all, we're going to split this into 2 parts. We're going to have a minute on strengths and a minute on weaknesses. Now, strengths, we're going to pick 2, maybe 3. I'm going to say I've got 3 great strengths, and here's why. My first one is that I feel that I have pretty good business acumen. So I've been running businesses since I was in my mid-20s, and I've had my own businesses since I was 31 and I'm 38 now. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm trying to give you some proof. I'm giving you some context. If I just said to you, oh, I'm really great at business, that person's probably looking at you going, according to what? But now that I've given you a little bit of context, a bit of proof, you might go, oh, okay, I guess I believe you. I guess I believe that you have experience. We don't know the quality of that experience. And you can do that for 2 or 3 strengths. Now, where do you get the strengths from? From the job description. All the time, knowing that job description inside and out. Even for me, I'd have it printed off and sitting there on the desk in front of me, so that if a question comes up and I'm not quite sure how to answer it, I'm like, what kind of person are they looking for? what's in the job description? What should I really communicate that I'm about, because that's what they want for the person who's going to be great at this job. So for a weakness, I know a lot of people struggle with this, but this is just a lesson that you have learned. So a weakness, for example, for me is I can be disorganized and a bit too hard on myself. So what I try to do is something really simple where when I start something, I finish it. And it could be something so simple as making a cup of coffee. But I'm an absolute nightmare for putting the kettle on, putting the coffee in, and when I'm not having a good diet day, putting some sugar in as well, then wandering off and answering the phone and going on my emails and coming back. And then 3 hours later, I'm there going, oh, I'm feeling a little bit thirsty. I swear I was doing something. What does that mean? It just means I put the kettle on, I wait for the kettle to boil, I pour the coffee, I stir the coffee, I put the milk in, I sit down. It makes me more mindful, it makes me slow down, and also it makes me more consistent. Because what I'm trying to do is actually a really important principle for me, just do one thing and do it well. Now this is a weakness of mine, but I've just conveyed it as a lesson. Now you're not left sitting there thinking like, wow, this guy is a complete douchebag. He's awful, we shouldn't give him a job. You're like, ah, that kind of makes sense. And the same thing for the weakness, just very quickly where it's caught you out, what you've learned and what you do now. Question 5, explain a complex financial concept to somebody without a finance background. Now, I love this question. I'm not sure if it's going to come up all the time, but it definitely came up some of the time. I will explain the retail price index, which is based in the UK. Now, the RPI is like an official measure of how much a common number of goods go up or down. And of course, the price is just going up and up and up, right? So based upon that, certain things change. For example, social housing rent, mobile phone contracts, it's all based upon the RPI. So the RPI is like if you had a general basket full of common goods and services like bread, milk, bacon, eggs, data, these types of things, and it all costs £100. And then somebody will go away and investigate the average price for all of this, and then it comes back and says, now £105. That means the RPI has gone up 5%. Okay, and that will also affect how much other stuff goes up, how much your mobile phone contract goes up, how much social housing rent goes up, or stuff to do with welfare. And this is really important because generally it tends to affect people who have a very average standard of living. Well, the reason being is if they have an average standard of living, something going up 5% actually affects them. If they're earning £300 a week and their expenses are £250 a week, and there's an RPI of 5%, then that is now, oh my God, quick math, £262.50, right? So you're just like, okay, so it's getting closer. But if it was £290, then that person is experiencing a slight deficit because now their expenses are £305 and their incomings are £300. So it's important to understand how the general population is reacting to pricing changes. It affects the amount of money that they have left. If they have more money, it increases their discretionary spending and increases the amount of money that's flowing in the economy. Now, the reason why I picked this is not because I'm particularly good at finance or know a lot about finance. It's just a way to understand how to explain things in a simple fashion. I like to say stuff like, this is kind of like this, or this is sort of like that, and this is why it's important, and this is what it means, and this is why we do it. But you'll notice that the way that I explain things is really simple. It's like I'm talking to a child. I was talking to my grandmother. There were no complex financial terms. I'm not trying to appear intelligent. I probably didn't appear intelligent at all. And I try and break it down into its simplest parts. And something that's a really good tool to do this is, again, using AI. Just saying, hey, here's something that I want to talk about. Can you break this down like it's being explained to a 5-year-old? Question 6, describe a time when you had to meet a tight deadline. Okay, cool. So we've all had deadlines, whether that be from school or college work, from work, extracurricular activities. I think it's important to explain 2 or 3 deadlines. Because a lot of times we have competing deadlines, right? I don't just have to do one project. I have to do one project, and also I have to go to the gym, go shopping, and do that stuff with Mary. So I've got all these competing things that are trying to jump up and down for my time. So it's important to explain what is the competition, what is the challenge or the friction for me to be able to meet the deadline, and what does it really mean in terms of the amount of work that I need to do. And a good way to understand it is to quantify things. If someone said to me, what did you do today? And I said, oh, I wrote all day. They'll be like, oh, okay, all day. That seems like a long time, but you can't really see what that looks like. But if I said to you, I wrote for 3 hours today and I wrote 2,700 words, you're gonna be like, most people, if you're not a professional writer, are gonna be like, holy crap. So try to quantify things, try to explain them in terms that other people would understand. You know, how long did it take? How much did you do? How many people did you speak to? How many phone calls was there? How long were on the phone? Now, these seem like really simple things because probably to you, you're not that bothered about it. You don't really think about it that much. But to somebody who didn't see you, who didn't experience that part of the story with you, it means a lot. Question number 7, what do you know about our recent initiatives or products? Now, Deutsche Bank's annual report is hands down the longest annual report that I've ever seen. I believe, I can't remember the exact number, but it was over 700 pages, which I just thought was nuts. Now, importantly, within that annual report, is going to be a section from the unit that you're going to go and work for, right? So you can go and read about that. You can go and read about it in their blog and their news, and just pick out 2 or 3 things that you find interesting. Again, you've only got 2 minutes. What a lot of people do is that they panic and then they think, oh my God, I need to learn everything that Deutsche Bank has ever done for the last 200 years. And really, you just need to learn enough that you look competent for 2 minutes. Simple enough, right? There you have it, guys. That was everything. There were no real special cases that came up. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know in the comments down below what brought you here, what country you're from, what role that you're applying to, or even if you just want to share your experiences to pay it forward and help other people. I wish you the best of luck with your interview. Bye.